Confidence doesn't show up before you start. It's built because you started. Welcome to the A Perfect Swing podcast, where we talk about leadership, growth, and life lessons through the game of golf. I'm Ashante Epps, LPGA professional, author of A Perfect Swing, and founder of the A Perfect Swing Inc., which includes the A Perfect Swing Golf Association and the A Perfect Swing Foundation. And today we're talking about something every golfer, beginning or experienced, have felt at some point: first tee anxiety. Now, that is that moment people are watching, you don't want to mess up, and suddenly everything feels harder than it should be. If you've ever felt that, just know you are not alone. And today we're going to talk about how to move through it. Now, so let's first talk about what first tee anxiety really is. You know that feeling? Your palms get sweaty, your heart starts racing. You suddenly forget everything you practice because people are watching. And all you can think about is, please don't embarrass myself. I don't want to embarrass myself. But here's what I've learned after years of teaching golf and leadership. First tee anxiety isn't about your swing. It's not about your golf game at all. It's about learning how to perform when the pressure is on. And that's a self leadership skill we all need. It's the fear of one, being judged, two, not performing well, three, looking like you don't belong. And I see this all the time with beginners in our program. And it's really more with the adults as opposed to the children, because you put the children out there, and man, they're on the first tee and they go for it. However, when we look at our teenagers and the adults, they step up to the first tee and everything kind of changes. You know, their swing tightens, their breathing shifts, their confidence drop, not because they can't do it, but it's because they feel like now they just really have to do it perfectly. It has to happen now. So the first thing we want to do is kind of reframe the moment. So let's start with the good news. If you felt nervous on the first tee, guess what? You're normal. You're actually human. In fact, nervousness means you care. Most beginners experience first tee anxiety because they're worried about three things. One, the fear of judgment. They're worried about what others think. Will people laugh? Will I look inexperienced? Will I embarrass myself? The other thing is the fear of failure. Many beginners expect perfection from themselves. They think they need to hit a great shot immediately, perfectly. And the other thing is the fear of the unknown. New environments create uncertainty. So whether you're playing golf for the first time, you're at a new course, you're hitting in front of new people, it's just new expectations. All of these create pressure. But leadership teaches us something really, really, really important. Pressure doesn't create character, it reveals it. Golf simply gives us a chance to practice responding to pressure in a healthy way. So that first tee anxiety, it's good for you. Now, before I go any further, I want to look at the leadership lesson that we can take from this. Leaders take action before they feel ready. One of the largest myths in leadership is that confident people aren't nervous. That's not true. The best leaders I've met still experience uncertainty. The difference is they don't wait for confidence. They act anyway. The first tee anxiety, that's teaching us the exact same lessons. You stepped up, you commit, you swing, not because you're certain, but because you're willing. And that's self leadership. That is not something that you should overlook. That is critical. At A Perfect Swing, we teach our students to see the first tee as the starting point, not a spotlight, and an opportunity, not an evaluation. Because the moment you stop trying to look good, you give yourself permission to actually play. And that is what you want. Now, here are some practical confidence strategies that you can use while you're standing on the first tee. You know, it's one thing to acknowledge first tee anxiety, But let's make it real and actionable. So here are 5 simple ways to manage first tee anxiety. The first thing is simplify your first shot. Don't try to hit the perfect drive. Choose a shot you're comfortable with, even if it's not your longest, even if it's not with the driver. And confidence grows from success, not distance. So putting yourself in a situation where you're executing a shot that you're confident with is going to help lower the anxiety levels. The second thing is control your breathing. Before you swing, just slow down. Take a breath, exhale. This is going to reset your body and calm your mind. It's a thing. That is what breathing does for your body. It puts you in a more relaxed state, allow you to focus a little better, and that's going to help you. The third thing is to focus on process, not people. So you want to shift your attention from thinking to yourself, what are they thinking? What do they think I'm going to do? Right? To what am I doing? You're focusing on what you're working on. At a perfect swing, we remind our students that you don't need to focus on everyone watching you. You just need to focus on the one thing you can control, and that is your swing. And go for it. The fourth thing is you should expect imperfection. Now, here's the truth. Even experienced golfers hit bad shots. So if you're expecting perfection, you're setting yourself up for even more pressure. So instead, expect to learn. Expect to see how you can handle the jitters of standing in that situation. But if you have that expectation and you focus on your swing, you're going to see what that outcome is. And typically that it is a little better. So you're focusing on that process, but also understanding that if you execute your process, you're not expecting perfection, but you never know, you might get it. And the fifth thing is, listen, pull the trigger. Sometimes we get nervous, but we double the number of practice swings. We're looking up and down, back and forth, doing things that we wouldn't normally do. The longer you wait, the worse that shot is likely going to be. So let it rip. Follow your pre-shot routine, set up, and go for it. Okay? And I'll tell you, when I started playing golf, again, I was trying to be a part of the business conversations. However, as I decided that I wanted to play better, more competitively, and lower my scores to pass the playing ability test, I realized that at the moments that I wanted to play my best golf, I couldn't. It I'm out by myself or I'm out playing with people that I know, great. However, the moment I'm at a situation where I want to do well, it's like I got a hockey stick in my hand. But what I learned was that, I had to call out what the issue was. And like, I need help. I couldn't figure out what it was. And I found a golf teaching professional that specialized in like mental focus training. And they use this application called OptiBrain. And OptiBrain is where they measure the your brain waves as you're playing or you're doing some type of physical activity. And it said that at the moment that you stop thinking or your brain waves stop, that is the optimal time to execute. So I went in to do a session. They put the electric brace on your head and they start playing music. And they say, when you stop thinking, the music will stop. So my objective was to stop the music. And let me tell you what, people tell me I talk a lot. But when I tell you I was talking to myself, must be a lot because I couldn't get that music to stop. And I'm like, what? It went from, okay, let me stop the music to, is the music stopping? Why can't I get the music to stop? Oh my God, the music is not stopping. But all of that is talking. Those are brain waves that continue to make the music play. So I literally had to hone in and focus in and like stop thinking about anything. You have to zone in. There is a thing called zoning in. And I got to a point where I could stop the music. And stopping the music put me at the optimal point to perform. And like that worked. Once I could stop the music, I'm like, oh, I could do this. And that transferred to the golf course. When I got out to play with those individuals that I really, really, really wanted to play well for, I could. Why? Because I got on that tee box and I thought about stopping the music. And it's like, got it. And that's the belief, the formula, the pre shot routine piece that's been added that I use for every swing now, even then, or shall I say, then, even now. So it is about learning who you are, understanding how you handle pressure. That's that self leadership, right? Understanding how you handle pressure, identifying ways to handle it if that's an issue or an area for you, and then utilizing that. That's how confidence is built. Not in perfect moments, but in the honest ones where you're honest about yourself saying, listen, this ain't working. Are you interested in making a difference in a child's life as well as the golf industry as a whole? If so, I would like to invite you to be a resource for the A Perfect Swing Foundation. In the A Perfect Swing Foundation, we have our 501c3 nonprofit youth initiative where we introduce youth to the game of golf as a youth development tool in their personal lives. We hone their communication, leadership, and networking skills. So when we think about the golf industry, oftentimes we think about tour players, but the golf industry has careers in every imaginable field that you can think of. And we want to ensure that we expose our youth to that. So we would ask you to consider providing a monetary donation. But in addition, we would love for you to volunteer to be a mentor, sharing your skill set, sharing your job, sharing your roles and responsibilities as a knowledge, as a tool to our youth so that they can understand and get a feel for the various careers through mentorship. Additionally, when we look at the needs in our community, whether it's a monetary donation or just providing some of your skill sets to the organization, that is just as valuable. So whether you're an attorney and you can review legal documentation for us, or you're in the administration field and you can do some clerical work for us, or if you're in the technology field and you can provide some technology services, all of that allow us to continue to pour into the lives of our youth. And I'm going to tell you, I would be so appreciative. You can find out more information about us on our website at www.aperfectswing.net. Again, that's www.aperfectswing.net. And to make it easier, you can click on the link below. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Another thing that really becomes key in golf and that first tee anxiety is that it isn't just about golf. It's about life, right? It is about starting before you feel ready, showing up when you're unsure, taking actions while being observed. And at A Perfect Swing, we use golf to teach something even bigger. You don't have to eliminate fear of moving forward. You just have to move with it. Hear me when I say it. You do not have to eliminate fear of moving forward. You just have to move with it. So remember the 5 simple ways to manage first tee anxiety. 1, simplify your first shot. 2, control your breathing. 3, focus on the process, not the people. 4, expect imperfection. However, follow your process and execute. And then the fifth thing, pull the trigger. Let it go. Okay? Now, I want to challenge you today. Whether you're stepping on to the first tee for the first time, starting a new job, launching a business, leading a new project, or pursuing a goal that scares you, remember this: you do not need to eliminate fear. You simply need to move forward despite that. The first tee is teaching you a leadership lesson every single round. That moment will never feel perfect, but you can still take the shot. As I wrap up today's episode, I want you to remember, listen, everybody gets nervous. Everyone feels pressure. Everyone has moments of self doubt. The question isn't whether you'll feel those things. The question is what you'll do next. Will you step back or will you step up? So the next time you or your child or a playing partner, any of one of those sorts, step onto the first tee, remember this: you don't need a perfect swing. You don't need perfect confidence. You just need the courage to start. Because confidence isn't something you wait for, it's something you build one swing at a time. Because leadership and golf, they both reward those who are willing to move forward before they feel completely ready. And please remember, a perfect swing isn't about perfection. It's about having the courage to trust yourself, commit fully, and keep moving forward. One swing, one decision, one leadership moment at a time, even when it's uncomfortable. Until the next time, keep swinging with purpose, and I'll talk to you soon.